Hey guys, you're looking at the next couple of levels of the modular castle. There's secrets and things hidden all over this place. A lot of advanced techniques using new roofs, technology, and there's a lot of new buildings or new rooms that you don't even see here. I'll show you in a second. But also in this release are two-story and multi-story prefabs. Many of you have seen my tutorial on the new better roofs and levels modules, wall height as well. And now we're building in 3 dimensions. And so you're going to see here in this video just a overview of all the new assets that came with the next couple of levels of the castle. And we're going to also, here's the beating heart that the Gorgon made for us for the top of this this thing. And then we'll go through all of these new assets that came with it that you can plug and play and swap in and swap out. Some of these are in the new scene, some of them are not. And of course, here's just one of the new 2-story. It's actually a multi-story prefab. It's even got basements that come with the farmhouse. I show you how to build this stuff in my tutorials, but today we're going to go over what's out in this latest release. So hopefully you guys have fun with it. So the way my content works is pretty easy. It's just $7 for everything. It's crazy, I know, and it's not always going to be that way, but the only thing that's different is if you want all of my archive of my Dungeon Draft files, then that's $12, but otherwise, for most people, $7 a month is it. You get the entire modular system. You get all my premium maps. If you leave, you keep everything. You just don't get updates. So, again, this won't always be the case, but right now it's probably the best deal in the VTT world. To get it, you just go to my Patreon. So patreon.com/Baileywiki, which is linked in the video notes. The pinned post at the top of my Patreon has all the links that you need. Where you really want to get to is these 2 documents. The first is my FAQ and installation guide. It's got everything you need, including Patreon links, how to install my modules, info on other modules that you'll want to install, and all kinds of FAQ and tips for using my content. The second document is my modular system guide. It's got everything you need to know about my modular system specifically. What's in it, how to install it, how to use it. It's even got the entire changelog and release history for the entire system with video walkthroughs for everything. So if you're curious about this content, go find those. They're public documents. You can open them up. I'll link to them in the video notes as well, and you can check it out for yourself. So let's walk through the main new stuff that came with this release. First of all, in the scenes you have under new releases, you've got these 2 inventory releases that we're going to look at right now. And then you've got all of the levels of the castle that have been built so far. And so the bottom 2 sub-levels are going to be coming in the next release. But you've got now 3 and 4. And 4 is actually a number of levels because they're spires. So we'll look at those 2 as well. As far as what's new in the release, you've got some that are not in the castle, but that you can use. Abominable Rob made this really cool one. This is a library. And you can put doors on different areas if you want to access it in different ways. But inside the library is this special room here that is a secret room, and it's got a ceiling that goes away, and it's got a secret entrance there on the outside. So this room is a library. It can be found in the Prefabs compendium. It's an actor compendium. Here you see the castle in the multi-story buildings. This is where everything that you're looking for is at. You can, if you're using compendium folders, which is what generates these folders, you can use this button to import everything into your world, and they'll come across like this. They'll come in their folders. And then if you want to search for library, you can, and you'll find these 2 libraries under the castle that you can now deploy. We also have these cells and oubliettes. They are modular. They're surrounded by metal bars, and so they're designed to be able to be rotated, fit together in different ways. You have this extra skeleton that you can put into one of them, like this prefab has the skeleton built into it. And you can change out any of these backgrounds or foregrounds just by using the token attach or quick edit mode. And if I go to foreground, for example, and I click on this one, and it takes me to the right folder, and if I type in cell, I can see the different cell walls available to me and the foundations for them as well. These will be supported in the next release when we go underground, but we're releasing the tiles themselves for you now. There's some blink rooms to do things as you will. These blink rooms are riffing off of, in this case, this is another one for Abominable Rob. He made this armory. He's got the nice armory, and then he's got the really dirty and messy armory. And this is the one that we're deploying into the castle for this release. But you can swap these out, renovate your castle for your players and turn it into this, for example. More from Abominable Rob. This is the brazier room. This has a lit brazier in the middle. There's some lore. If you guys, this could work, for example, with Castle Ravenloft. If you look up the room there, you can modify it in different ways. There's the hourglass. It's actually a ceiling tile that sits over that, and when the lights are down, it looks really, really cool. There's some other blank rooms to let you use the same dimensions for other things. Here is another one from Abominable Rob. This is a crypt. This will also be fully deployed in the next release when we build out the bottom 2 levels. But this one, if you turn on quick edit mode, you can manipulate these things here. So like this, for example, cover comes off, and you can even in fact move the entire thing or delete it entirely and put an actual crypt there. There's a bunch of assets from Forgotten Adventures, for example, that would go really well right there, or from Tom Kartos. You also have this guard room, which is just a really nice room that you can put multiple doors, egress and ingress out of here. There's one included in the prefab, but you can obviously move things around with quick edit mode. And if you just want the table, Abominable Rob made just the table itself that you can drop into any of these blank rooms and assemble that separately. There's another crypt to go with the first one. This would be more of like Strahd's crypt. This is one that I made that, the tiles were removed and it's got sort of the dirt underneath. And if we turn on quick edit mode, we can see that we can move this out and there's just an empty grave down there. So feel free to swap out other assets and put them in there, and left this room open for, potential encounter. This is the Hall of Webs. There's some creative walling going on here. You would end up putting doors on some of these egresses, but we didn't put them into the prefab itself. And there's some overhead tiles going on here as well. So if I turn on overhead tiles, these web tiles are overhead, and you can essentially put players and enemies underneath them, and they will slightly obscure them. So just as an example, I'm making my way through here, and you can see my player gets obscured. So you can actually put things like a spider in the corner, and your players won't even see them because of the terrain walls. But also the web occluding them will also help kind of make it more of an interesting battle and make it hard for your players to see, and actually make it feel like it really is hard to see their enemies in a battle like this. There is a empty version of this as well, but we didn't put it on this particular scene, but it's the same dimensions and this kind of dirty wood floor. So this next one is a belfry. This is actually a levels enabled prefab. So there's actually 3 levels to this belfry, all within this one prefab. So as you approach the middle area, the staircase goes away, and you can, the upper staircase, so then you can see that you can walk up to it. It'll put you up 20 feet. And then there's actually even another level after that that's got the bell to the belfry up here at the top level. And so just some creative use of levels to see what you guys can do with this. And you can pop it into any map just to give it a little bit more interesting dimension. Over here is another tomb. This would be like the King and Queen's tomb. There's a magical barrier here on this level that your players can try to cross. It's already got an invisible wall there so that you, the GM, can decide who you move to the other side. Feel free to change that around as you feel like. And in the tombs here themselves, it works the same way as you saw in the other tomb. These tops of these coffins come off, and you can put things inside there, or you can remove the coffins entirely. And you can even change the decor from around the room into anything that you want. Some things that are relatively new: these stained glass windows can come off, and you can put other types of windows or no windows at all in there if that's what you're interested in. Right? We've also introduced these angels there's this angel, and then there's actually a larger version of it. It's got 3 angels next to each other. It's wider. So keep an eye out for that as well. There's also the addition of the portcullis, which is right here. And you can drop that in like you would any other door. This room right here is a really flexible room. You can see there's an empty version and then one that's got some gross stuff in it. This is really good for building hallways and connecting up in different ways. You can basically just put doors on any of these sides and be able to have some interconnection happening with those. This is two different versions of a closet that I designed. This one's just a little bit more rough and messed up than this one. But these are kind of cool because they have special overhead tiles in them. So if I turn on my overhead tiles and if I move this one out of the way for a second, these are set to mask and hide. So when you've got a player that goes in here, they can see the tops and the artwork. If they open this up, they can actually see inside, and maybe they even jump inside and hide in there. They all open. They've all got something inside of them. You could put enemies inside there, of course. But also the way we've deployed it into the castle is this particular one has a secret entrance going out the back, or a secret exit, if you will, depending on which way you're coming from. So keep that in mind that you can use these. You could put a secret entrance behind all of these or none of these. You could have a door on this side versus a door on that side. So it's a flexible room to put in anywhere and have kind of a cool closet that your players can explore. This is another Abominable Rob creation. This is a bathroom and I think a closet. Yeah. Anyway, this would be like Strahd's bathroom, right? And he's got really cool cloaks on display. He's got, of course, a shattered mirror. It's got this bloodbath, and you can put doors in different areas here, depending on how you're setting up your scene. Zephyr made this scene. It's a really nice ambiance scene with a large fire crackling in the middle. There's some sound effects there, and this fire itself is activated with roof, so a player can walk underneath the hearth, and you may have on the other side, you could put a secret entrance. This is how it's deployed for the fully built map. Now we have 2 torture rooms. We have I'm calling a wet and a dry version. The wet version has a special tile underneath these top tiles that make it shimmer with water. The idea is that zombies come out of here and attack. You've got cages that are sort of left open. You've got some operating tables. You've got a tank here that something's held in. You've got Iron Maiden that's halfway open that you could put somebody in. And then this is actually a level above. This is sort of a viewing station. So you can have this room without having the balcony above it. But the way we deployed it into the castle is there's this actual viewing station where somebody can watch the tortures that's going on. And then there's this special curtain behind it, which I'll just show you how the lighting looks in this room. Oh, that's the other thing. At this level, you've got to be at least level 15. If you're at level 15, then you're above that wall downstairs, and you're actually at the level of this area. And there's a special macro in here that sets you at level 15 if you're coming from the other direction. And then it sets you back to the regular ground level if you're walking out. This is just to help make this balcony work with the scene so that you could have players down below and tactically, fighting players up above. And you just put a door in here wherever you wanted a door access. And this one works the same way, just without the water. But that's all the rooms that were the new rooms created for this release, and obviously a little bit supporting the next release. So now let's look at the multi-story prefabs. These prefabs all have, you've seen these in the tutorial, but you now have this barn available as a prefab as well as the farmhouse. You can just look up farmhouse 2-story. You'll find it under the new multi-story prefabs, and you can look up barn as well. You'll find that. And then you've also got the instant fortress that's deployed as a prefab as well. So you can look up instant fortress or just type in fortress and you'll find that there, and you can just drag those into your scenes and be ready to go. We also put Zephyr's, one of his multi-story prefabs from the castle release in here, just so you could see it and realize that it is a prefab you can deploy into other maps. But it looks strange until you put a player down. And we can drag a player into this room, and now this prefab should work, and it should teleport us Going around the staircase. There we go. At the next level up. And we can see and explore this level as well. So just to point out some things in the new scenes, the top 2 levels, which is actually more than that, there's some levels are spires. So the Gothic level 3 and 4 are new. If you're looking for them, they're under new releases. And the first 2 are the inventory releases, which we just looked at. And then the second, this one's a blank castle template in case you want to build your own. And then we've got the pre-built ones 1, 2, 3, and 4. So you've already seen 1 and 2. This releases levels 3 and 4 to reflect a lot of the rooms that you just saw. You'll notice that we put, specifically Zephyr built all these quick encounters here. So if you have quick encounters and Scene Packer installed, then these will work for you. These also are, I believe, specific to 5e, although you can tell me if they work elsewhere. But if I open it up and I click Run Quick Encounter, then it will start my combat tracker and it will spawn these enemies here, vampire spawns, and I can do that. You can also click on it again and it will just add to what you've already deployed. It'll put them on top of each other, so you may have to move them around. You'll see the secret door behind the fire here. Some other things to point out. This was not deployed in the last version, but this one it is. This is a roof tile, and a player can go underneath it and be slightly obscured. And here's an example of the closet that we deployed with the secret passage behind it. And that leads to this sort of Hall of Heroes. All of these staircases will work. They're all enabled for players. You just need to make sure that your player has their map pins toggled on so that they can see them. And of course, as the GM, you also can toggle on your map pins, and you can see some of these other tips like where secret doors are and things like that. Rug of Smothering, vampire spawns. Really clever. Good job by Zephyr creating all of these. This is just really great stuff that you don't have to go and do yourself as the GM. Something tells me we're going to have some spiders if we click on this. Yep, giant spiders, wolf spiders, swarms of spiders. And we'll see how they deploy into the scene. It's a great little battle there. And if we look at where they're at, yep, so we've got some spiders just sort of hidden around. You can hide spiders way back in the corner. They can be slightly covered. And yeah, you can move them around, and this is a great little combat encounter. More spiders in the belfry. Notice when you open these for the first time, Scene Packer, if you have it installed, it will automatically look for whatever dependencies that you need, and it'll import them into your world for you. The levels here are a little bit interesting. It's easier to get here from a staircase just because these are, multi-level scenes enabled towers. This is actually the level that this applies, move this note, because otherwise this is really the downstairs of this, and you don't want to accidentally teleport from up here. So if we wanted to move that note, we could just drag it away. Walk in here, we can hear a heartbeat sound from the heart that's at the top of this giant tower. And now we're at the very top of the tower. So this could be an entry point for your players to come in. Now, how you're going to use these, and you guys can let us know if this is easier to do with levels or if we should split these out, because you may find that, coming in at the level that you want to, it may be that it's better to deploy these in a multi-level token version versus trying to, force them to stack like this. So let us know what you guys prefer as you're kind of play testing it. We're going to want to definitely hone this in depending on, what works and what doesn't. So hopefully you guys have fun with these next couple of levels. The last two levels, the lower levels, are nearly complete, and they're going to be coming out in the next release, which is just a little less than 2 weeks. And also in that time, we are going to, at least we plan on updating all of the prefabs to the new Better Roofs system, which will imply also simplifying them drastically in terms of walls and such. So hopefully we get through most of those, if not all of them, also by the next release. And then we'll be really kind of fully converted over to Foundry 0.8. And let us know in the meantime if there's something that you'd like to see. We're going to be doing a contest where some of our really talented people in the community will be developing alternative rooms to all these rooms that you've seen. So the idea is to just make more and more options for you as the GM to be able to build any kind of castle or underground that you want. Obviously, these tiles can be used in other capacities like dungeons and things like that. We're essentially in a dungeon. It just happens to be in a castle format. So keep an eye out for that contest starting. There will be some free Patreon subscriptions that get given away with that. And we always see really, really outstanding submissions. And in the meantime, have fun with this and let us know if you like it.